Hi guys, and welcome to All About the Philippines. Online dating certainly has its challenges, but also how amazing is technology these days. Gone are the days when we're looking for a good woman overseas and would form a relationship with that woman by writing letters to each other. And the letter could take several weeks just to arrive in the country such as the Philippines, and then another few weeks you're waiting for her letter to arrive back at your doorstep. Really, no wonder pre-1990 finding a woman from another country was rarely heard of. This would have tested the patience of most men, I'm sure. Now, fast forward to today. Technology is fantastic and the air travel is more affordable than ever before, and this certainly opens up the world for international dating. No longer are we bound by borders, and the international online dating scene is a smorgasbord that more and more men are participating in to find the love of their life. Online dating sites are exceptionally profitable businesses, and this provides opportunity and the hope for single men to find women and spend the rest of their lives with. Well, that's the hope, but with online dating comes dangers, and really once we meet that someone special online, at what point do we then go to the Philippines and meet them in person? And that should always be a major factor in consideration when you're dating a Filipina online. So I'll give you my thoughts on this and more in just a moment, so stay tuned. If you're watching this video, guys, then very possibly you're considering finding a Filipina girlfriend and don't know where to start. We've got many subscribers in our community who have been successful through the Philippines' #1 dating site, and I have no hesitation in recommending that site as a great starting point to find your Filipina girlfriend. So be sure to check out my affiliate link in the description below and view thousands of beautiful Filipina profiles, and best of all, it's free to create an account. Now, having said that, guys, nothing is infallible, and even the most highly regarded online dating sites, you still need to use some common sense to ensure the person you're chatting with on the other end of the computer is in fact who she says she is. A country such as the Philippines, where there are many struggling in poverty, become very good at trying to make money any way they can in order to survive in a rather tough country. And that includes the many types of love scams going on in the Philippines. I have plenty of videos on my channel about the various types of love scams in the Philippines, so if you're serious about finding a good and honest Filipina, then be sure to do your research and check out those videos in the video section on my home page. The big question for people is, at what point should you meet your Filipina girlfriend? And many things come into play here. Meeting her too soon can lead to not knowing her well enough and becoming a victim of a love scam, and leaving it too long, well, you may very well lose a good, decent and honest woman. Remember, guys, that online romances tend to escalate, generally speaking, much faster than a face-to-face relationship. But one must remember that at this point, before you've met her, you don't have a girlfriend as such. She may be a prospective girlfriend or a chatmate. Calling her your girlfriend or claiming to be in a relationship at this point, as I've seen many people do, is just accelerating a relationship and opening the possibility of many dangers. Many Filipinas who are from online dating sites tend to want to fast track the relationship, and they may tell you very early on that they love you or you mean so much to them. Now, perhaps she really does like you and enjoys spending time with you, but also there's a possibility that she's trying to get you emotionally involved very early on so she can set up a scam. So straight up, I'm going to give you a big tip here and say that if a Filipina says she loves you in the first few months, then don't respond likewise. If she is trying to scam you and she thinks she's getting nowhere, she'll come out and ask for money or give you a heart-wrenching story so you feel compelled to send her money without her having to even ask you for money. And for those that are not aware of this fact, they're going to think that it's been their idea all along to send the money, when in fact she's played you by tugging at your heartstrings. And if that money request does come, it'll usually come within the first couple of weeks, and then it's time to stop wasting your time with her and say goodbye. And believe it or not, this is really something crazy, but I've seen guys who say they've been dating a Filipina for 2 or maybe even 3 years and still haven't even met them. Now, to me, clearly that's way too long to never have met a person that they say they're in a relationship with. And think about it, guys, in reality, what girl will wait 2 or 3 years without ever meeting her supposed boyfriend? Really, guys, you need to have a little bit of common sense and not get swept up with everything and send this money to this Filipina on a regular basis when she's having the facade of being in a relationship just to get the money, or while she's got another boyfriend or boyfriends in the Philippines, and possibly even more online. So for anyone who's found a prospective partner in the Philippines, these are my tips along the way, and to the point where you'll meet her in person and you'll be far less likely to get scammed and find a good, caring, decent Filipina for the long term. So tip number 1, and probably the most important, is something I say all the time but is so true. If you want to find a good Filipina for the long term that will stand the test of time, then you really need to slow down and take your time at the very, very start. Don't be drawn in by the Filipina to speed up the relationship. You both need to get to know more about each other through the online dating phase first. And enjoy getting to know more about her country, and she'll be able to tell you so many things about her country that will absolutely fascinate you. But don't interrogate her in the first couple of chats. Remember, at that stage you've only just met her. As the chats go on, you can start asking more personal questions bit by bit. Tip number 2, you really want to be doing video chats by the 3rd or 4th time that you guys chat and message. And the reason for most of you will be very obvious, but for some it doesn't seem to sink in. So we'll give it another go here and say you don't want to be wasting your time with a Filipina who's not serious about you. The right Filipina will jump at the chance to see you on the computer, believe me. And if a Filipina is making excuses, then she isn't being genuine with you. If she has the capability of being able to chat with you and text, then she'll have more than likely access to a webcam. After all, a woman looking for a serious relationship that goes to a dating site would certainly understand that she needs access to a webcam. So there are really no excuses as far as I'm concerned that would suffice. And of course, on webcam you get to see her in real time and not just from a picture which may have been years ago or maybe even someone else. And if she does turn out to be genuine, then the first time you see each other on video camera is a fantastic moment that you guys will remember for a very long time. So tip number 3, guys, is that after you've been chatting with video for around 2 to 3 months and everything's going well on the video chats, and she appears to be open and honest, and she's always there for a chat when she says she will be, and her body language is consistent with what she says, and she hasn't asked for any money or given you any heart-wrenching stories to try and get you to offer the money to her, and your gut senses that overall she's a good woman, then it's time to start to think about visiting this woman in the Philippines. And you may flag that idea with her to see her reaction. So when you tell her, watch her body language and her facial expressions very, very closely to see if she's genuinely excited or if she's got a look of concern. And if that's the case, you might want to investigate a little bit more. It doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't want you to come there. Maybe she's trying to think about, oh, how am I going to get out of work and all that sort of thing at that point in time. So just investigate a little. Now at that point you want to start thinking about doing a little bit of research around some Filipino customs and the part of the Philippines she lives in, so you're more familiar with how things work when you do arrive in the Philippines. Tip number 4, now it's time to start thinking about when you will go to the Philippines and how long you can go to the Philippines for. Everyone's different and there's certainly no right or wrong here, but I recommend for the first visit it be a shorter one, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. Now that doesn't mean you can't go to the Philippines and go a bit longer, but just spend 1 to 2 weeks with her. I think this is enough time for you to get to know each other without really overdoing it, on a more of a personal level, to see what she's about and then return home to consider if you want things to continue without being near her where you may be emotional and may not really be thinking so well. So you need that space to actually really consider what has gone on while you were there in the Philippines with her, and to reflect on if you think there's anything off with her or if everything's really good. And for those guys who have got work commitments, then you'll need to organise some time away from work. And you may also have a limited budget, so factoring in things like airfares, accommodation, travel insurance, any vaccinations you may need to get, or malaria tablets, as well as enough money to get by while you're there. And don't forget to factor in the cost for taking your Filipina out to dinners or going to different places while you're there, as people do when they're trying to get to know each other. So from what I've just said, the largest expense on this visit will be your airfare. So you really need to get the best price you can, and the prices can change on an hourly basis. You can literally see a price, say for example $400, and then come back and do a search again, and that price an hour later may be $600, $700, $800. So if you find a good price, jump in and grab it when you can. And for those of you that want to save on your flights and accommodation, be sure to check out my very own travel comparison website at holidayescapetravel.com, where you will certainly save. Oh, and be sure, a tip here guys, be sure you have at least 6 months left on your passport at the time of leaving to go to the Philippines, or you won't be cleared to leave. Now we come to our 5th and final tip guys, and when you arrive in the Philippines at your final destination, stay in a motel or hotel, even if she offers you to stay at her place. Different guys do different things, and again there's no hard and fast rule, but I find that you really still don't know her or her family, and while everything in the end may turn out okay, you really don't know what you could be walking into when you're in the Philippines. And I'm a believer in putting your personal safety first over anything else. And also, as I said at the very start, you want to slow things down. Staying with her will only accelerate the relationship and cloud your judgment. And yes, it can be very tempting with a beautiful looking Filipina standing right in front of you and asking you to stay with her. But really guys, now is the time to use some restraint. If you really want to make sure that the relationship will last long term, then slow it down and don't be tempted. That's my best advice around that anyway guys. You can still go there to a family's home and meet her family and her friends and maybe even co-workers, and of course maybe do a few touristy things and go out to dinner, maybe the beach or whatever. And during this time you've got a great opportunity to see how she interacts with other people, and that will show you if she's genuine or one that can put on a bit of an act. And this is another big tip I'll give you guys, is while you're there with her on this week or two vacation, then don't make any long-term commitments with her. Don't promise you're going to get engaged or you're going to marry or anything like that. You can officially become boyfriend and girlfriend, but really guys, you don't want to be making rash offers in the heat of the moment, no matter how good things are going or how good they seem. When you leave to go home, think carefully on everything you've experienced and felt while you were there with her, and listen to your gut feeling and think to yourself, was there something or several things that you felt a bit uneasy about? And being away from her will allow you to fully process and evaluate the Filipina and yourself as a possible partnership going forward, and whether she's right for you and if you are right for her without any emotional factors coming into play. And that'll help you to make a good decision in the end. If you decide she's the one, then you keep doing your video chats on a regular basis and keep your eyes open to anything that may. And if everything's all good, then personally I would go 3 to 4 months later back to the Philippines, or as soon as possible after that time. And on that visit I'd stay anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks to really get to know her at a more deep and personal level. Anyway guys, if you're thinking of dating a Filipina or are new to dating a Filipina, then be sure to check out my free Dating a Filipina course, which is a 14-part series jam-packed with over 30 hours of information, resources and tips. The playlist can be found on my home page, and I'll also put it in a link in the description box below. If you have any more tips you would like to share with the community, please feel free to put them in the comments so we can gather a great source of helpful information. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up and share the video with all your networks. We would love to have you in our friendly community, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and turn on the notification bell for more videos. I appreciate all your support guys. Thanks very much for watching. Take care and bye for now.